Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour tout le monde. This is Madame Murphy with Fun Facile French coming at you again with video number 2 in our series of videos about debunking the common misconceptions of the AP French Language and Culture exam. So in today's video, we're going to kind of continue with the theme of the first video, which was the statement that you need to be a native speaker to score a passing grade on the exam. This is not true. You do not need to be a native speaker. And our number 2 misconception is that you need to have memorized every single verb conjugation in the subjunctive, in the conditional, and be able to use them flawlessly with absolute ease. Now, I want to be clear from the beginning that I am not anti-grammar. Grammar is extremely useful in making us comprehensible. And as we saw in our last video, and we looked at the rubric I use as a scorer, comprehensibility is important. However, even to earn a score of a 5, notice that third bullet point. You can make occasional errors as long as you're comprehensible enough, as long as these errors do not impede understanding your message. So what is a message? Well, let's think about the interpersonal speaking task. And if you're unfamiliar with what I'm referring to, please go back and watch my video on the structure of the AP French exam. The interpersonal task, for those of you who have taken a look at it, is a back and forth simulated conversation with a computer. You only have 20 seconds to respond once the computer asks you a question. A common question the computer will ask is, Qu'est-ce que tu me conseilles? The computer is asking you to give advice. What wonderful grammar structures do we know for advice giving? We have the conditional and we have the subjunctive. And it is wonderful to be able to competently use the conditional and the subjunctive. Tu pourrais, tu devrais. However, it's important that you use them in context. You need to understand the context of what the computer is asking you before you throw out a tu pourrais or tu devrais. Let me give you an example. So if the computer asks you, quel conseil est-ce que tu me donnerais pour attirer les jeunes à notre événement francophone? There's quite a few keywords in there you need to understand. Conseil, attirer, les jeunes, notre événement. What are they asking you? To give advice about attracting students, young people, towards this francophone event. No matter how many conjugations in the subjunctive or the conditional you've memorized, tu pourrais, tu devrais, they're not going to be helpful unless you first understand those key words, unless you understand what the computer is asking you. This is why my number 1 suggestion to preserve your time so that you all can continue going to your sports practices, hugging your dog, practicing self-care, is that you don't waste your time memorizing conversations, but that rather you use that same time you devote to French to interact with French speakers. There are wonderful programs like italki, Talk Abroad, which will allow you to do that. You can also work with Fun Facile French, where we provide you with resources specifically targeting the interpersonal speaking task. But overall, you really just need to spend your time listening to French and using the grammar rather than memorizing it remote. What's the word I'm looking for? Qu'est-ce que je cherche? Rather than memorizing it rotely. Okay, merci tout le monde et à la prochaine. Take a look at our video number 3 about the third myth of the AP French exam.